Hello and welcome back to another out of spec detailing video. You guys joined me a couple thousand miles away from the shop in Colorado. We are down here on the road this week in Alabama detailing some cars, and one of the first cars I want to bring you along for the journey with is this launch edition quad R1T. What we're going to be doing on this thing, doing a full paint correction, a full polish. We're going to be doing coatings all over the glass, the paint, all of the black plastic trim, as well as doing some interior detailing. So I'm going to show you through this process. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what it's like to detail on the road, because of course, not having all my tools, all of my chemicals here, I had to ship a lot of stuff out here, which makes it very interesting, but still a fun exercise in detailing. So join me as we dial in this brand new launch edition R1T quad. Welcome back and let's jump into it. Well guys, I'm super excited here to have the opportunity to work on one of the first R1T quads in the entire country, this being one of the launch editions with the storm blue exterior, the slate sky interior. We've got the 22-inch Super Sport wheel and tire package. This thing looks proper kit. I actually really like the new Laguna blue brake caliper accents here, the little subtle detail on the emblems here. This spec is really, really nice. Of course, you can get these in the launch green, or if you don't want the launch edition, you can of course get it in whatever color from Rivian you'd like. So I have flown down here from Colorado, and that was a little bit of a trick because I had to order a bunch of products. And instead of driving like I did last time, I hopped on a plane. So I shipped all the products down, had to go through this very interesting mental exercise of what products do I need, what products do I not need, and everything in between. If you guys are interested, I would definitely be happy to make a video on how I go through that process and the products that I deem to be most needed, if you will, for something like this. Because again, we need to figure out how we wash the vehicle. We need to figure out how we're going to come in, paint, correct, polish, ceramic coat, do other areas like interior glass, trim, wheels, all that stuff. It's a little bit more than I kind of anticipated, but really an interesting exercise to say the least. So we are here to dial in this paint. And the first thing you'll notice here, lots of water spotting here. Now, I did actually have to wash this outside yesterday at about 4 p.m. Sun was really heavy, if you will. The interesting thing is here, this side was actually in the shade. So these water spots are not from washing it. These were actually here beforehand. I know, of course, somebody's gonna be like, wow, those are from you washing in the sun. That's not how that works, because this side was a side that was actually in direct sunlight, and you'll see we have little to no water spots. There are still some on it. Not sure exactly where these came from, but they were there beforehand. If you are interested in knowing how you can actually wash in direct sunlight, it's not always recommended. You have to be very efficient, which is why I didn't film for that. It is possible. Just keep that in mind. Really, the best way to do it is you're going to foam it down, and then you got to be really quick at making sure it doesn't dry. Rinse that off, refoam it, get to contact washing. If stuff starts to dry, refoam it. Then you want to, as quickly as possible, rinse it, pull it inside like I did, and dry it. So we did a great job at not getting more water spots on here, but nonetheless, I want to show you through this thing before we get started. So one of the first things up here that I noticed on the hood of the R1T is you can see this spot up here. And this has had some rotary polishing, I would assume directly at the factory there. And I just want to walk around here, show you guys what's going on with this thing. So you can see some more heavy water spots in here. This thing has had some water spots, and my customer told me about these, and I was like, okay, wonder exactly where those came from. Not quite sure. You can see up here, we've got some heavier scratches in between, some swirl marks throughout, so that's why we're gonna be doing a correction. This is such a nice color here. You can also see here is a nice little dust nib here that they sanded at the factory. Didn't get it quite polished out completely. Pretty interesting. Oop, I think we saw another one here. So another rotary polishing mark throughout. So yeah, this thing's not in 100% perfect condition. As you can see, some nice white marks in there. This thing needs some love, to say the least. So even around door handles, we of course got some scratches, some delivery scratches. None of this will be too big of an issue going and correcting it. So it's been a while since I worked on an R1T. R1Ss are just so darn popular, especially back home in Colorado. Seems like pretty much every other car on the road as of late is a Rivian R1S. Pretty crazy, to say the least. Let's check around here, around the bed. Just some stuff going on. So these are normal water spots that we definitely picked up from washing. Those will wipe away pretty easily. But again, as you can see here, we've got a few deeper marks inside there. Back here, we're getting into the sunlight, but definitely just scratches throughout. So the plan here is we're going to be going through doing our full correction on this. We'll kind of play with how aggressive we need to be with the compounding. Again, the hood being one of the areas of concern. You can see these are definitely heavily baked water spots in here. And I can actually see that they have etched. Yeah, you can really see those. Not exactly sure where this would have come from and why it's so prevalent on the passenger side, but not the driver's side. Again, yesterday when I washed, if you were curious, this was the side that was in the shade. That was the side that was in the sun. This is not from washing, nonetheless. I know somebody's gonna comment that. But yeah, just need some general love. So we've got it washed, we've got it ready. We're gonna start off with our paint correction. So I'm gonna do some test spots. I'll let you know what's working, what's not working, and I'll take you through this entire process. Let's get this bad boy dialed in. All right, guys, so figured I would give you an update here. Things are looking great with the R1T quad. First off, first thing I want to show you, you can see all the water spots are now gone. You will also notice though, paint's looking a little hazy in areas, so I did have to get a little aggressive with the compound. So using CarPro Ultra Cut mixed with Lake Country microfiber cutting pads. In most of the areas with actually some lighter scratches, I was using Optimum Hyper Polish, which is actually impressive how much it can cut, but finishes down really, really nice. So impressed with that stuff. It's really nice because obviously Rivians have a lot of trim. That's a product that you can get on the trim and is not gonna completely destroy it, turn it white. It actually polishes it up nice. So really nice to be able to do that. Now, the other thing I have also done is actually pulled the truck out. I have gone through and cleaned all the wheels, and I've given the truck another bath just because we have all of that compound polish dust everywhere, wanting to blow all of that out of the nooks and crannies. Now, the reason I didn't film that, unfortunately, compounding stage took a little bit longer. I was hoping to rewash the truck this morning in the shade so I could film all that for you. Had to do a little bit more correction work in some certain areas. So I had to wash it around noon. Now, I know a lot of you, I posted a photo of me actually washing this quad R1T the other day when I first washed it. And people are like, I don't understand, a good detailer shouldn't wash in the sunshine. If you can be quick and efficient with it, pull the truck in while you're drying it, it makes all the difference. So I didn't have time to set up a camera and do all that stuff, but what I did was basically parked one side of the truck in the shade, cleaned up the wheels, dried them off, flipped the truck around, cleaned the wheels, quickly foamed it, quickly rinsed it, and immediately pulled it inside and got to drying. And as you can see, no water spots. Even down here in Alabama, where it is 87 degrees currently and very hot and humid. But as I bring you in here to the paint, you can see that sparkle is really coming out. So next step here, we're gonna get into polishing, refining the paint out. This thing's gonna look amazing. Then we're gonna get into our protection stage, where we're gonna go through, coat all of the areas like the paint, all the plastic trim here, the glass, all of that. But first, we got to get that paint dialed in before we do that. But man, this thing is looking awesome. Well, it is now time for coating here. looking pretty spectacular to say the least. Spent a ton of time doing all the piano black trim on here. Also went through, polished the glass, so we're going to be coating that as well. Had some pretty severe water spots on those, so needed to get it off, but the paint's looking awesome now. So I've already gone through, wiped this down with CarPro Prep, so we are ready. The paint is looking pretty darn perfect to say the least. So time to get the coating on. We're going to be installing Clean by Pan the Organizer's 8-year coating. So you guys will see some clips of that. We're going to be coating paint, glass, trim, all of the fun stuff. So let's get to it. And just like that, folks, we've got a fully dialed in Rivian R1T, and this thing is just looking incredible. Man, so happy with how this thing came out. Now, you guys didn't see everything I did in this video. Unfortunately, these longer form videos that I do, filming them over, 3 to 4 days, it's really hard to film absolutely everything. And at most points, it's time to just get the detail done, put the headphones in, hammer down, get some work done. But dang, I am really, really happy with how this came out. So, a couple of things here. The paint needed some serious love. So you guys saw some nice before and afters here. So this is our finished result. And the thing I love about this storm blue paint is when you initially look at this, especially in this environment here, it doesn't seem like this would actually have metallic. In fact, it looks very pastel-like, if you will, just a solid color. The cool thing is, pull it outside, hit it with the Scan Grip light here, and it just becomes this glitter bomb. Unfortunately, today it's a little bit gloomy here in Alabama, so I'm not gonna be able to show you it outside in the sunshine, but this can make the difference. Now, the other thing you guys saw, went through, coated all of the trim. That is one of the things on the Rivians that just make such a difference. These, even directly from the factory, look really dull, really faded. Once you get these coated, they just look nice, silky smooth, not greasy, not oily. Again, putting that protection on there, that really heavy UV protection with Pan's 8-year coating on here, absolutely makes all the difference. And it looks nice and uniform now. It's not too shiny, it's not too dull, perfectly in between. The cool thing is, even areas like the gear tunnel here can go through and coat all of this plastic in here. Especially in Colorado, with a lot of these R1 trucks that I work on, a lot of people take them off-road. This area here just gets absolutely hammered with dirt and grime. Reason being is there's no seal on kind of the outside protecting this entire door jamb. Now there is a seal here to protect the actual gear tunnel area, but it just gets filthy in there. So the nice thing is that's all protected now. It'll be super, super easy to clean. Yeah, we went through, cleaned up all the wheels as well. Now again, one of the things being a little bit away from the shop, don't have all the jacks and things like that. In fact, Rivians are a real pain in the butt actually to take the wheels off of. So we cleaned these up as best as we could, coated as much as we could here. They'll still say nice and clean here. Now the tire shine needs to kind of dull out a little bit. That is one thing I know probably a couple of you will comment, and I would agree with you. These are a little too shiny right now. So I actually ordered some CarPro Dark Side. If you guys have seen my tire dressing test, it was actually one of my least favorites, but I'm trying to play around with it a little bit more because I know a lot of you really, really like it. So I've applied it. I've knocked it down with a microfiber towel. This truck's gonna sit a little bit, so I'm curious to see what it's gonna look like. It's really interesting. In here, it looks a little shinier than it does outside. I did pull it outside and it kind of matted out a little bit, but these kind of grooves in here really hold that sheen, which I'm not a super big fan of. It's a little too glossy for me, but should dull out here in the next couple of days. So other than that, some other things I did off camera here is really focused on the glass. Glass is one of those things for me that I really take a lot of pride in and want it to be 100% perfect. So I actually went through, machine polished all of the exterior glass. We had some water spots and stuff like that, especially on the sunroof up there. And then went through, did the full brilliant glaze treatment on the inside. And what you end up getting from that is just literally perfect glass. A little few pieces of dust here on the exterior, but yeah, it's pretty incredible to say the least. That's how glass should look. But man, I am so happy with how this darn thing came out. Also quickly went through the interior in here as well. This interior is just incredible. Love, love, love this interior spec on this, especially with the storm blue exterior. The slate sky just looks 10 out of 10 inside. So man, this was a fun project. We've got the first project for this detail week under our belt now. And now we got something a little bit bigger to start on. So if I pan over here, that's up next. So that'll be a fun project. It's going to be a lot of work. But man, thanks so much for watching another out of spec detailing video. This R1 is dialed in and is looking incredible. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.